Fabulous, Scott. You know why?
No,
It's football weather out here tonight. We got a little chill in the air. It's nice and crisp, a little fog. That's what high school football is all about.
after 81 days.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Something like that, I think I heard.
And I'm embarrassed to say that I was actually kind of hoping for a little bit of rain.
Were you?
Oh, yeah, I think we need it. Plus, it's football season. We need a little, we can't have these 80-degree Friday night football games every week.
But only on Friday nights between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m.
Yes.
Then it's sunshine the rest of the time.
Absolutely. I'll take the sun the rest of the time. But I want some football weather, and we got it tonight.
Well, the other big thing, it's homecoming tonight, and it is also senior night. And talk about a lot of seniors and a lot of big play seniors. But also, you'll see in the start of this game where Glacier Peak did win the coin toss and decided to receive the ball. But you'll see a lot of kids out there. It's a great night for seniors, Tim, because a lot of kids who do not get a lot of playing time are going to play.
Yeah, catching up with the coaches, they told us pretty much the first half is going to be all seniors. And a lot of them would be out there anyway, but there is going to be a few that would normally not be out there, and they're going to probably play most of the first half. So, but your regular seniors, your Quentin Dunbars, your Sean Elledges, and Austin Jacobson and Chris Becerra, all those your standard issue seniors that are normally out there, they'll be out there anyway.
And again, homecoming, good little Tim tidbit here. Glacier Peak, not the greatest record just in the last 2 years on homecoming games.
Well, let's break that down a little bit.
Break it down now.
So last year they had homecoming. We went up to Mount Vernon on the road and had homecoming up there and kind of got upset by Mount Vernon. We had homecoming at Bothell last week, and we'll get to that in a minute, but we know how that turned out. We had homecoming against Meadowdale last year on the road. We know how we ended up losing that game, kind of a tight game. So homecomings have kind of been their Achilles heel, and the road has kind of been their Achilles heel. So we'll talk about that too.
No, a bump in the road is an understatement for this Glacier Peak team. So, you want to talk about, let's briefly go over the loss last week. The first loss of the year for Glacier Peak against the Big 4A Bothell. And we've had a lot of time to talk about it and watch the film and watch the tape, and we've talked to all the coaches about it and some players. What do you think?
Where do we start on that?
We started at the beginning of the game, 41-14 loss. If you live under a rock or something and didn't hear about that.
Well, let's back that up a little bit. 41-14, however, they had 41 points on us in midway through the second quarter. What happened is that I think what all started was that pooch kick. Glacier Peak doesn't recover that pooch kick when they kicked off after their first touchdown, and it just kind of went downhill from there. It was spiraling downhill.
And Coach Hannon, I thought, had a good point about that before the game, looking back at that. We were talking about Marcos Baruch. However, there was kind of an alignment miscommunication there as far as who was closest, who was supposed to go to the ball. There was more to that than we saw just on the tape.
Well, I'm not sure where you break it down. It was just everywhere, and I think that it was the big plays too. It was big play after big play. They turned it over 3 times in a row, and Bothell seemed to score on the very next ensuing play every time. And they even had one where they threw a 35-yard touchdown, and it got called back because of a penalty, went back another 10 yards, and they threw a touchdown on the next play. So they were just coming at them, and Glacier Peak was just kind of like a deer in the headlights.
Well, the good news was, again, it was not a league matchup, so they are still undefeated in the league. They slipped from 5th in the state in 3A to 7th in the state in 3A, so still a very good football team, and Coach Rowe telling us before the game, he's not worried about it. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Kids have a short memory and they'll bounce back.
Yeah, and let's be honest. The rankings are something the parents like to see, and we like to talk about it, but it means absolutely nothing when it comes down to it. The only thing that matters is games like tonight, they're division games, so they could be look at Bothell was, they started out 0-3. They're really one of the better teams in the state. They'll go to the playoffs because none of those 3 losses were league games. So, those type of things. The good news is that game with Bothell really makes no difference on the schedule.
Yeah. A lot of injuries, and we'll talk about that on our IRG injuries. But as you see now, they're getting ready. It's showtime. That's right. You see big Nate Sandstrom and newly coming out in Cody Campo, led by the seniors. As it's homecoming night tonight, Glacier Peak football here on STSPN.com. Again, Scott Oshman joined with Tim Boyle. We're glad to have you. Thank you for all season long. And so what do we expect again tonight? We talked a little about you're going to see at the beginning of the night, you're going to see seniors. But again, Becerra needs to rebound, Elledge needs to rebound, all the big-time offensive threat and defense threat, kind of have to come back, have a comeback game.
Well, yeah, it's a good point. So last week it was kind of like it was almost like for stats they were off last week. They went into last week leading the league in pretty much everything. Becerra was leading the league. Elledge is leading the league. You had Michael Palmer leading the league. They had like 6 of the top 12 spots in receiving. But last week was kind of like a week up. There was really no stats. I mean, they kind of laid an egg against Bothell. So they'll need to come back. Palmer actually fell. He's actually, Devontae Downs is leading the league in rushing. However, Palmer's got him on the yards per carry. Palmer's averaging 7.3 yards per carry, which that's large. I mean, that really is.
That is big. Well, we'll break down. We did talk to Rob Peschel, the third-year head coach for the Thunderbirds. You're watching the Mongols pregame show here on the Snohomish Times Sports Network, and we'll be back to talk about the Thunderbirds right after this.
Step inside Mongo's at Clearview for an experience you have to taste to believe. Customers come to Mongo's for the friendly service, down-to-earth atmosphere, and, of course, the menu. We use only the freshest ingredients to prepare every dish, and everything we make starts from scratch each morning, like our delicious freshly caught salmon and our mouth-watering burgers.
Yeah,
perfect for ordering to go or dining in. What you don't see is how much energy our chefs put into every meal. We think the results speak for themselves. Just see what our customers are saying. They dream of our fish tacos. They love our fabulous chef. And whether it's lunch or dinner, they can't get enough. We love what we do, and we think you'll agree once you take that first bite. When you come hungry, we want you to leave happy.
Graphic just to pull up as we talk about
Mongo's at Clearview. Stop in anytime. Step inside Mongo's at Clearview.
I'm with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist from Murphy's Corner. With Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist from Murphy's.
Welcome back. Glad to have you again, Scott Oshman, along with Tim Boyle here. Back in Snohomish, Veterans Memorial Stadium, the friendly confines, our booth that we love to be in here. Spacious.
That's what we like to call it.
We got out of Bothell Popkini, a beautiful stadium. The press booth was tiny.
Beautiful, yeah, you're right. You would think the press box would have been a little bigger. I like this one better. I like our home cooking here.
Yeah.
Then we get the Mongos and all that stuff.
Absolutely. And Chris Cooney, our Eagle Eye spotter, always bringing some tasty treats from Mongos there in Clearview. Now, speaking of injuries, last week at Bothell, just to kind of wrap a bow on that game, our IRG injury report, we saw some big injuries, and Trey Chambers was on crutches, and Neil Drewliner was on crutches.
Yeah, and that, the sad thing about that is it kind of happened like late in the game when the game was out of hand. You hate to see those injuries anyway, but you hate to see them. You really hate to see them when the game's late. The game's meaningless at that point, and you saw what I think Trey Chambers collided with Drewliner, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. The good news is Coach Hannon telling us that those kids are going to be all right. They might not play tonight, but they're going to be fine, and they'll be back. For Shorewood, I mean, the list is just too long. We saw last year, if you watch Glacier Big Football, Gene Holly, the senior, he's graduated. He has a younger brother, Marquise Holly, who's injured, was actually a sophomore. They actually think he's actually got a bigger future than Eugene, a stud running back. Got hurt in the second game, I believe, of the year and has been out since. So don't have him. Aaron Miller, their starting quarterback, has an injury. Might see him a little bit, but they're starting Drayden Wright, who's a senior, also one of their key defensive players, but he's only has 7 passes for the entire year.
And he gets kind of thrown into the fire with Glacier Peak. They come on the road to play Glacier Peak. It's not like they're playing Shorecrest or at Linwood or that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, big players for them. Again, you're coming back. Levy Diaz, you'll see him. And then their big stud is Chris Namba, who do it all. He kicks, he punts, He receives, he plays on defense, he does it all. And we're getting just ready for kickoff here. And Glacier Peak is going to be returning, and Sean Elledge and Kainoa Wong back to return. And as you see, Chris Namba kicks it off. And that's going to go to Kainoa. Takes it at the 15. Has a little bit of space. Breaks the tackle at the 40. 50. Now into Shorewood territory, out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
Wow, great. That's great field position for Glacier Peak to start off on, too. And a great run by Kainoa.
Averaging 24 yards on returns. There's Glacier Peak, Kainoa having some big ones early in the season this year. So Glacier Peak starting in great field position, Tim. Becerra now back to pass as always. Plenty of time going deep down the left sideline. Incomplete, broken up.
Cody Campo, I believe.
That was Cody Campo.
Well, great play by the quarterback there. He kind of got his fingers on it right at the last second, Scott, and kind of saved the touchdown there. And the ball was actually on the mark.
So 2nd and 10. Good play there by Boyston Fordhall, number 13, defending Campo. Becerra now going over to QD, incomplete.
Overthrew him. QD was open, but a little over his head.
Number 1, again, you'll see Angelos Perry, another big, important player for Shorewood, along with their quarterback, one of their key defenders, Drayden Wright, number 15.
Glacier Peak staring at 3rd and 10 now, Scott. Right off the bat, they need to get something going here.
QD again, and Becerra, didn't have a horrible night last Thursday night against Bothell. Never quite gotten anything going. Looking over now again for the play. But needs to have the opportunity there for Chris to have a big night tonight. Hands it off to Palmer on the left side. A little room, but gets just inside the 30 to the 29, and that's not enough for a first down.
They'll be probably going for it here, though. 4th and probably 3.
Dustin Phillips on the tackle there. Again, quick play. They're going to go for it, and there's Palmer now trying the right side.
Ooh, it's going to be close.
Line judge coming
I think he's going to be about a foot short. So where he's standing, I think he's going to be short, and he is.
Yeah, marking at the 27, needed to get to the 26. And first turnover on downs. Again, Levy Diaz and Dustin Phillips there. Good stop for Shorewood. Now remember last year, Tim, Shorewood came out and led Glacier Peak right off the bat.
Yes, because they had that really good running back.
Eugene Howard.
Yes, exactly.
And it was a track meet.
It was. There was like 35 points scored in the first quarter, if I remember right. That was the word Elledge went on for like 5 touchdowns.
And here you see Shorewood, and that's Riccio Campbell gets the carry there for about 4 yards. It looks like they're going to get.
Like Sean was Elledge was on the tackle there. Again, you'll see a lot of seniors right now. Pretty much going to be all seniors the first half.
So Drayden Wright, the quarterback, again, Coach Peschel saying just a great leader on the team, a senior. He gives off to Angelos Perry on the right side, and he gets a Shorewood first down.
Wow, Shorewood just did what Glacier Peak couldn't do, get a first down.
10:34, just the start of the first quarter.
We didn't talk about Shorewood's record this year. They're 1-5, and they've been struggling. We'll get to that in a minute, but on paper it looked like it'd be a pretty easy game for Glacier Peak.
Angelos Perry now in the backfield. They hand it off to Diaz. Diaz with a good carry up the middle. Gets to the mid stripe. Another Shorewood first down. A carry of 11 yards.
Glacier Peak's coming out looking a little. They're still kind of stunned from that loss last week, maybe, but and it's a lineup change too. But I don't think they're too worried yet.
Another good senior, Austin Nixon, on the tackle there for Glacier Peak, number 36. Drayden now 1st and 10 from the 50. Angelo slips a tackle on the right side. Now has a little room. Austin Jacobson catches up to him, but that's going to be another Shorewood first down.
Yeah, and they're winning that line of scrimmage game. They're just running on him. I have yet to see a pass from him.
3 consecutive first downs. Again, we talked about their one win this year against Linwood. And Coach Peschel saying that was actually Eugene Holly's younger brother, Mo Holly, they call him. He had a big night that night, and they beat Linwood.
He's having a little bit of a big night already.
Well, he's not in the game. That's Diaz.
That's Diaz. Okay,
he cuts it up the middle, a huge hole, and gets to the second level inside the 25. Another first down.
Okay, so now, Scott, you've got 4 consecutive first downs here. And I'd like to make the excuse that it's a different lineup, but they're going to have to make some adjustments here.
Austin Nixon again on the coverage there on the tackle. 5'11", 195-pound senior getting to play again. You're seeing mostly all seniors on the front line for Glacier Peak. Now Drayden under center. Hands it off. A good defensive play that time.
Oh, he actually got flipped out of that. He was going to lose about 3 or 4 yards, and he got almost back to the line of scrimmage. A good second effort. They had his jersey, but he wasn't going down.
Riccio Campbell, the ball carrier, and David Cho, number 90 in the backfield, getting a good pursuit. Again, David, a senior on senior night here, homecoming for Glacier Peak. 2nd and 12 now, a 2-yard loss on that play. Right. Hands it off to Diaz. Nice hole again up the middle. He's going to get close to a first down.
That's about a 10, well, I think they had lost a yard or two, so that's about a 10, 11-yard gain there.
Should sit at around 3rd and 2, looks like.
So at this moment, Scott, the line's getting pushed around a little bit up front.
Another young manhunter, Marsh, on that tackle. Doesn't get a lot of playing time. Good to see him. So 3rd down here. They give to Diaz. He's got the first down and a little bit more. And Sean Elledge finally brings him down, but he gets to the 10-yard line.
Well, Shorewood's playing a little bit of smash-mouth football. They're just choosing to run it right up the gut. It kind of looks like the Snohomish teams of yesteryear. They're just going to keep running it. Hey, if they're going to get 10, 12 yards a carry, why change it up?
Diaz now 4 carries for 25 yards, and Angelos Perry 3 for 31, averaging 10-plus a carry. Now, Wright, looks like he tried to get it to the up-back, but kept it, and he'll get taken down at about the 9. Actually, no gain. Michael Newley on the tackle there, Tim.
And he slipped a tackle in the backfield, too. So right now, Shorewood's looking a little bit slippery in the backfield. Glacier Peak had some chances to hit them with some big losses, but they seem to be able to slip right out of them.
2nd and 8, still an opportunity for a first down. Need to get to the 2-yard line to reset the downs. As you see, Chris Namba, number 11, going out on the far side, along with Riccio Campbell. And Drayden now flips it off to Perry. Perry cuts through and touchdown, Thunderbirds.
Okay, that's not what we were expecting. I'm sure that's not what Glacier Peak was expecting either.
Angelos Perry, with a nice, strong run, passes the first down marker and into the touchdown. Just like last year, they score first.
They do. Last year, well, if it's going to be anything like last year, check back with us in a couple minutes because it might be like 21-21.
Chris Namba is the kicker. He's on for the extra point. 6-0. Hold is down. It's up, and it is good. So 6:43 left in the first quarter. Shorewood strikes first, and they're up 7-0.
Kind of just like, except last year was a little bit quicker, I think.
So we'll see how Glacier Peak answers. Again, a lot of seniors. And you're watching Glacier Peak football on the Snohomish Times Sports Network. We'll be back right after this.
I'm with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist from Murphy's Corner Physical Therapy and president of IRG. Shannon, everybody knows what a ankle sprain is, but how do you treat that?
Well, an ankle sprain, let's talk about what an ankle sprain is first. This joint right down here where you have this little bump on the outside of your ankle, you have some ligaments that connect bones to bone. Again, remember, ligaments connect bone to bone. The most common ankle sprain is when someone rolls their ankle, usually running wrong in basketball, going up for a rebound, landing on someone's foot, and you roll your ankle, what we call inversion. You stretch these ligaments or sprain them. You then have inflammation, pain, and problems walking. The best thing for treatment is get this ankle in a brace, get some ice on it, get on some crutches if you need.
Welcome back. Chris Namba kicks it off, and that'll go in the end zone, an automatic touchdown, but touchback.
But, I don't want to give him another one of those.
Just, give him a 14-point lead. But you're correct on your screen. Shorewood does have 7 points. They had a long drive there, taking up quite a bit of time, all on the ground, Tim Boyle.
Everything was on the ground. The reason it didn't seem like it was a long drive, but those running games when you just keep running the ball and getting first downs and running the ball, it chews up a lot of clock real quick.
A 73-yard drive for Shorewood to open it up. Glacier Peak now, this is their second series. Michael Palmer in the backfield. Becerra gets it over to QD on the near side. Gets tackled out of bounds nicely, but gets across the 25 to the 27.
About a 7-yard pickup. That's the kind of stuff Glacier Peak needs to do. Just, 5, 7-yard gains. That's kind of their rhythm.
Austin Upton for Shorewood drives QD out of bounds. 2nd and 3. Hands off to Palmer. The missile trying to get it going. He gets a first down and all the way up to the 35-yard line. Got to get the missile ignited tonight.
The missile will get ignited, I believe.
Again, 52, Austin Upton, and Drayden Wright, 15, the quarterback on the tackle. 1st and 10 now for Chris Becerra. Again to Palmer. Cuts back in the middle. A good play.
Gets back to about the original line of scrimmage. He was doing a little east and west. That's not characteristic of Palmer. He usually finds due north pretty quick.
Cameron Tester got back there, number 18 for the loss. Now 2nd and 9. She got back to the line of scrimmage. Now they hand it Palmer again. He tries to cuts up, but Diaz and Upton and Shorewood, pretty stingy defense up front, Tim.
Well, they are. Yeah, absolutely. And now Glacier Peak's looking at 3rd and long here. This is going to be an important 3rd down for them. They don't want to punt the ball back to them when they just got punched in the nose.
Glacier Peak coming into tonight averaging 155 yards per game on the ground as Becerra looks at 3rd and 8. Fakes the left, now goes over to QD. Or is that Baruch?
I think it was QD.
That is QD. Quentin Dunbar gets to the 40, but still with 5 yards to go for a first down.
4th and 5, Scott. That looks like they're lined up to go for it.
Palmer in the backfield.
They are going for it. Usually they'll stick Dunbar behind there when they're thinking about punting.
Becerra back, a flag is out. It's complete to Alec Horner. Is that 85?
It looks like it wasn't a dead ball. It looks like it might be offsides against Shorewood. We'll see what the ref has to say here.
Trying to see who got...
it's a legal procedure? Oh. They called a false start, but usually that's a dead ball penalty.
At Garrett Collins, 87. He's a senior wide receiver, 5'8", 140.
Now that's going to make it 4th and 10, Scott. So now they're probably going to look. That's probably going to change the play. You might see a punt here.
Coming into tonight, 4th downs. They're 6 for 17, Tim.
Uncharacteristic of them. In the years past, they've been typically over 50% on 4th down.
Looks like they are still going to go for it.
Well, I'll tell you how you can tell. If they stick Quentin Dunbar behind there, it looks like they are going to go for it.
Chris now fakes it to Palmer, goes over, and it's intercepted by Drayden Wright at the 28-yard line. What a play by Wright! No, they're saying incomplete. I thought he had the ball.
Either way, it would be spotted at about the same spot, whether it was interception or incomplete. But another turnover on downs. 2 possessions, 2 turnover on downs, and then they've let Shorewood score on the first one. So Glacier Peak not looking too good right now.
Drayden Wright, the quarterback and defensive player, Rob Peschel saying one of the best defenders. He saw that. He had that read all the way.
I think he didn't sell that too well.
Good scouting on the side of Shorewood, and now Drayden, the kid who almost had the INT, now hands it off to Perry. Perry on the right side. He's tackled by Mosese Fafita, talking about injuries for IRG. He's playing with a broken hand. And also Carson Call, which is a senior, but Mosese is a sophomore.
And Scott, he almost was tackled for about a 3-yard loss in the back, and he slipped out. They're slipping out of their hands almost every single play. They're getting by that first tackler.
Before the game, we were down on the field, no rain, 2nd and 9. Drayden now hands it off. And that's Rikio Campbell. He gets a couple yards.
If that.
Zach Peterson, number 50, with the tackle for Glacier Peak. Looks like they're kind of flowing in some starters, Tim, on defense.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I think Rowe's a little nervous.
Mosese playing again, broke his hand the second quarter last week and played the entire game. Shorewood 3rd and 7 now for Drayden Wright. Turns, hands it off to Diaz. He's met there nicely, and only a couple more. That's going to leave a 4th and 5.
Yeah, probably not going to kick if they kick a field goal, it's going to be a 47-yarder. So I look for him to go for it here, Scott.
Austin Jacobson on the tackle. Used to hearing his name quite a bit. A junior will have his services next year. So 4th down, it is 4th down and 5. They're going to go for it.
I think they pretty much don't have a choice here.
Perry in the backfield. Ooh, Drayden with a hard count gets Glacier Peak to jump.
That's going to give them a first down, too. It's going to be offsides against Glacier Peak. Probably enough, depending on how long the 5-yard was. Yeah, I think it's going to be right on the mark.
Now, are they going to give them the first down, Tim?
We're going to see. It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it is a first down.
They're calling now over the chains. There they go. Now the chains have caught up. There you go. Thank you. Great job, Leslie McLean, on camera. So Glacier Peak looking a little wobbly. They got beat up. New set of downs. Diaz in the back. There's a fumble. But Drayden picks it up, and he's got it, but he's going to go backwards. If they give him forward progress, he might get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's either going to be about a loss of 1 or no gain.
Mosese up there. Peterson up there. Again, now, Glacier Peak.
They actually gave him about 2 inches on there.
They gave him 2 inches. A heck of a spot.
That was a good spot.
2 minutes left now in this first quarter. Shorewood up 7-0 and threatening. 2nd and 9. Diaz in the backfield, but they're going to give it to Perry around the right side. Jacobson and Elledge get him down at the 20. Going to leave 5 yards to go. 3rd and 5. Glacier Peak again, even though Bothell, they gave up some huge, they were gouged with big runs by Danny Wilson and LaFossa, still only 3.8 yards per carry on the rushing they're giving up coming into tonight.
Yeah, tonight's a little different. Tonight's more of the 5 to 7 yard pickups, and last week it was all those big plays.
They're going to say 3rd and 4, gives it to Diaz, makes a cut. Now he's going to get up, and I believe he is going to make a first down, Tim.
Yeah, I think he's got it easily.
Bashing Glacier Peak up the middle right now.
They are playing some good smash mouth defense. It's kind of surprising because Shorewood's not very deep. You look at them, they have about half the players as Glacier Peak, and their key players are injured too. So it's kind of surprising right now.
Not a big front line. Chris Lee, the center, he's 6 foot 220, number 75 up front, just kind of leading the charge. Riccio and Diaz in the backfield now. Drayden to Campbell, and he is crushed in the backfield.
It's probably going to be about a 2-yard loss. That's what Glacier Peak needs to keep doing, because typically this year they've been very stingy on the run.
Broken hand and all. Mosese, Big Mo, starting to feel the mojo, baby. He is getting in the backfield in a hurry, just talking about working on Chris Lee and Austin Upton up front for Shorewood, starting to get some push. Leaves him now at 2nd and 13.
Only 20 seconds left in the first quarter, Scott. It went by fast.
It really did. From the 13-yard line, under center, right, fakes it. Now he hands it off to Riccio Campbell. He gets down just outside the 5 to the 6-yard line.
That's going to do it for the first quarter, Scott.
Sean Elledge has to come up and make the tackle. The senior could be his last night tonight playing at Veterans Memorial Stadium.
It could be. For all these seniors, there's a chance they could get a playoff game back here, but it's hard to say.
Well, that'll do it for the first quarter. We'll see what Shorewood's going to do next. You're watching Glacier Peak football on the Snohomish Times Sports Network.
And weekends. Pinky's Plumbing. Want to pay less? 206-707-1497. Experience, local, friendly. That's Pinky's Plumbing. Professional plumbing services, 24 hours a day.
This reminds me of senior night of basketball. Remember there was
Yes, I was at
that game. Pinky's Plumbing. Want to pay less? 206-707-1497. Experienced, local, friendly. That's Pinky's Plumbing. Professional plumbing services, 24 hours a day.
Yep.
They can actually get a first in. Boy, that was a 20-minute first quarter.
So 3rd and 4 is going to greet the second quarter for Shorewood here. And they still do have an opportunity. They got to get it just outside the 1 for a first down. So what's going on, Tim? I mean, we obviously saw the seniors, a lot of second stringers or third stringers in for tonight, which is a big deal last homecoming night, senior night.
Well, I'm not above or beneath making excuses. So my excuse is they have the lineup change has kind of messed with them a little bit.
And second quarter has been a big quarter, scoring 77 points this year at Glacier Peak. They love it. So they hand it to Diaz. He makes one guy miss, but the second level gets there in a hurry. At the 5, they're going to call him down.
I think he might have lost a yard there, Scott.
Well, they had him basically going to get it back to the line of scrimmage again. Now, 4th and 3. What do you do here? Do you kick a field goal? Do you go for it? You're on the road?
Well, I think I go for it. Why wouldn't they? I mean, they've probably averaging 7 yards a carry.
They're average 5.1, as a matter of fact,
there
thanks to our statistician, Johnny McLean.
Yeah, I'd go for it.
Diaz, the big kid, he's got 37 yards on 7 carries. Drayden Wright fakes and rolls right. Now he's going to pass for the first time tonight. Now he's going to run it. Now he gets rid of it, and it's caught. Touchdown by Namba. Thunderbirds.
Oh, my. We've got a stunned crowd here.
Shocking the Grizzly homecoming nation here.
I think we got a stunned crowd, a stunned booth, and stunned coaching staff. Well, I got to tell you, the team needs to get it together here because they are not playing well. They're letting Shorewood's one of the worst teams they are the worst team in the conference, and they're marching down the field on them.
Chris Namba, the do-it-all player, is on to kick the extra point after catching the touchdown. First pass of the night. Nice job for Namba. He puts it through, and it's 14-0 Shorewood. Drayden Wright really impressing me, Tim. Rolled out, faked like he was going to tuck and run, bought some time, and then got it into Namba, and it wasn't pretty.
No, and he actually had about 3 people open in the end zone. It was like, take your pick. I think you're going to see some adjustments right now. I think senior night's over. I think I think you can bet on the starters are going back in. And there's a lot of seniors starting, but there's a lot of juniors mixed in too, and it's a little bit different lineup.
Something you don't see typically here in the first half. Now in the white kind of stocking cap is Coach Rory Rosenbaugh. He pulled his team together, and you know what? He said, listen, boys, it's time to start playing.
They call that a coming to Jesus meeting, Scott, is what they call that. And I've been involved in those before, and it wasn't pretty, I'm sure.
Drayden Wright finds Chris Namba in the end zone. Getting Drayden Wright only 1 for 1 for 6 yards on the 6-yard touchdown.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see how Glacier Peak responds here, Scott. I'm thinking they're going to respond with a touchdown.
Well, Noah Wong and Sean Elledge, the wrestler, as you remember last year at Shoreline Stadium in the blue turf end zone, had a big night. Go to Noah, starting from his 8. Looking for a tunnel to go through, gets out to the 31, and he's taken down nicely by Drayden Wright.
The 31's fine. You know, I think your special team coach, I think the object is to get it past the 20-yard line, so they'll take that.
Dustin Phillips, number 7, another senior for Shorewood in a lot of plays. Ron Henthorne, what are you hearing down there, Ron?
I just talked to Coach Hands. He says that we're going to make the change up right now and bring the big boys back in and make this thing look a little different. Thank you, Scott.
Ron Henthorne on the sideline. Thank you, Ron. Now Becerra back, going deep down the left side. He's got Elledge. It's caught at the 30. All you need to say, touchdown Glacier Peak, and the wrestler makes him pay one more time.
The wrestler says, hey, it's senior night. I'm not letting you down. And remember, last year, Scott, the wrestler had 5 touchdowns against this team, and he was everywhere. He had one on a kickoff return. He had a fumble. I think he had a fumble recovery interception. He had a couple running. So he's kind of trying to pick up where he left off last year. And he's going to go out with a bang.
And we have seen that particular play many times this season. And they connect and get the crowd back in it. A homecoming crowd wanted something to get excited for, and they just saw it. As looks like Branson Cohen now faking kind of like he's going to go for a 2-point. Now he sets up with Austin Hines as the holder. High snap, gets it down. It is up, and it is good. So they cut it in half. 14-7 with a 69-yard pass play by the wrestler Sean Elledge.
And that's why the wrestler's averaging like 20-some yards a catch this year, because he gets those. We've seen that a lot. It's that fly pattern, and Elledge is football fast. I mean,
He's football fast. Well, 10:47 left in the first half. Glacier Peak gets on the board very, very quickly. And we'll see how the defense responds when we come back. You're watching Glacier Peak football on the Snohomish Times Sports Network.
I'm with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist from Murphy's Corner Physical Therapy and president of IRG. Shannon, what happens when a young athlete has a problem with the front of their knee, and how do you treat that?
Scott, that's a great question. Generally speaking, with young athletes, what we see is this kneecap, what we call the patella, becomes irritated on the back side of it. The term that we use in physical therapy is condylation. Basically what's going on is when you straighten your knee and bend your knee, this kneecap tracks up and down.
Spencer Pettit on to kick off. Angelos Perry looks that one to go in the end zone, and they'll start from their 20.
All right, now, Scott, we got to see how Glacier Peak's going to respond. You got the starting lineup back in, so we'll see what happens here.
Big kids, Matt Nicholson, Carson Call, Jacobson, Mosese Fafita in there now, Quentin Dunbar, Palmer.
Elledge is in there. Big play, Josh May is in there.
Marcos Baruch. And Drew Reiner is out. He injured himself. He's going to be okay as Drayden Wright gets an under center from the 20. Fakes the hand up. Now he gets it off to Rikio Campbell on the far side. Taken down. They're going to mark him about a 3-yard gain. Josh May with the tackle.
And they were playing a little more inspired, a little bit more aggressive on those tackles, too. They had about 6 people tackle him there.
And that's what we haven't seen, the fire from these kids in a little while.
No, I think you're going to see it now. I think they had that meeting there, and I think we just saw it on that first play.
2nd and 7 for Drayden Wright. Namba in motion. Drayden now looking over the defense. Gives it to Diaz. Diaz, but gets up, but Mosese and the gang right there to tackle. Maybe a gain of 1.
Okay, so now it's back to congestion at the front line there, Scott. All the usual suspects are back in, and they're not going to take it anymore.
Call and Nicholson up front, stopping the run game right there. Diaz already 8 carries for 38 yards. Angelos Perry, number 1, 6 carries for 48. They've already got 101 on the ground so far. 3rd and 3 now for Shorewood. This is important. Now Drayden starts with the shotgun. It's over his head. To the 10, Drayden just falls on it about the 6-yard line. Big play for Shorewood.
That's a smart move for him to just fall on it because there was about 6 Glacier Peak guys coming at him. So, you know what? That's going to bring up about 4th and a plane ride, Scott.
A big 3rd down and 3 for Shorewood. Big play for Glacier Peak on defense. So they'll punt it.
It looks like it's about 4th and 24. And punting from the end zone. It'll be interesting to see if Glacier Peak comes after this.
And it is Chris Namba doing the punting as well as we see Josh May and Sean Elledge back to receive. It's going for May. May will let it bounce. Thinks about it. Then it finally is going to be put down at the 48, but they're inside Thunderbird territory.
Well, it took a little bit of a Shorewood bounce there.
So the offense didn't have too long to celebrate there and think about it. It was a good stop, the first stop.
It was their first stop. But, you know, the different team, now you got all the usual suspects in there, and they just obviously looks like a different team. They scored instantly, stopped them here, at them at 4th and 24.
Hearing from Ron Henthorn down there, now rain starting to fall. It was not raining or misting. There was no moisture before the game, but the weather did call for rain. Becerra back to pass, going deep down the right side to Baruch. Almost incomplete out of his hands.
It looked like it was almost intercepted from my spot.
Good coverage there again. Boyston Vorda on the coverage.
It was a little bit underthrown. That could have been 6 points had that been a little bit more on the mark.
Again, Baruch been a little quiet. He's a senior.
He kind of comes in spurts.
2nd and 10 now at the Thunderbird 48. Becerra gets it to Palmer. Palmer makes one move. Now he gets
there he
some
goes.
turf. He's on the left side. Now it's a running race. He curves in the end zone. Touchdown, Glacier Peak. And the missile has been ignited.
The missile got his compass out.
He did.
He wasn't going east and west that time, Scott.
And boy, good thing. Got to stretch his legs. There was a flag down in the middle of the field.
To say it ain't so.
And this one could be coming back.
It looks like it's going to be a hold from where that is.
One of the most penalized teams in the Wesco League, Tim.
And it's, and it's the timing, Scott. I mean, here you got Palmer makes a huge play, and you know what's coming back.
Over 450 yards in penalties coming into tonight. That's their 2nd penalty tonight.
Well, what the stats don't show you is that's a 10-yard penalty, Scott, but it's really like a 60-yard penalty.
Yeah, it is. It's big. There's a legal block in the back. Becerra now fumbles the ball in the transition, but now falls on it. But they'll lose 2 yards and set them up for 3rd and 12 as the clock hits 8 minutes in the first half. So the wet rain, they have not played in the rain, either practiced or played in the rain. The wetness is causing
they did have a little bit at Mount Lake Terrace. They had a little bit of heavy drizzle.
That's true. Heavy. Good thing we're not meteorologists. 3rd and 13 for Becerra. Becerra now 3 for 7 for 78, the 69-yard Pass to Elledge, and he gets it to Elledge. Elledge gets across the 40 into the 36-7-yard line for maybe a first down, maybe just shy.
Number one there grabbed him, got him by that kind of picked his ankle. Otherwise, Elledge might have been off to the races, Scott.
Angelos Perry, the touchdown-saving tackle for the Thunderbirds. They're going to say 4th and 1.
Not thinking about it at all.
Becerra with Palmer to his right. He gets it to Palmer. Good pursuit, and he's not going to get there. Lovie Diaz throws him down at the 48. What a stop by the Thunderbirds.
Boy, and they saw that coming the whole way, Scott. That's a little disappointing. But you know what's disappointing is that touchdown run. You got a great run by Palmer. He finally breaks out and has a great run, and penalties. Oh, and the rain really is coming down. Look at that.
Great shot by Leslie McLean.
Wow. Thank you, Leslie. We can't tell it's raining like that from here.
It is coming down. It's supposed to keep on coming.
I actually think that's going to favor Glacier Peak, and I'll tell you why in a minute here.
6:57 left in the first half. Now from the shotgun, Drayden Wright goes far to the far side, and it's caught and complete by Chris Namba, and he gets across the mid-stripe into Glacier Peak territory. Michael Palmer on the tackle. Going to leave 2nd and 2, a good gain on first down for Shorewood.
I think as the game goes on, the rain's going to favor Glacier Peak because I think Shorewood's going to be forced to be throwing the ball tonight.
Not a lot of depth on the Shorewood roster. Chris Namba, their star receiver on the near side. They hand it off to Diaz. Diaz gets a first down.
That's about all. He needed about 1, and he got about 1.5.
Big shift in the game. They were rocking and rolling for Glacier Peak. Michael Palmer gets the big run. It's brought back by the penalty.
And we didn't get a chance to talk about the penalties in pregame. We meant to, but the penalties have really stung Glacier Peak the last 2 years, actually. And, I mean, realistically, this game should be tied up. But, they get the penalty, and then they end up turning it over on downs.
1st and 10 now at the 45. Drayden Wright fakes it, now gets it to Angelos Perry. Almost brought down the backfield by Carson Call, but he doesn't get much, so give him 2. Brought down by Jacobson and Palmer.
Well, the defensive line has a much different look since they put back the starters. They were like running 10 yards every time. They had 4 consecutive first downs on that one drive and ended up scoring.
First quarter, they're averaging over. The starters' effect there. 2nd and 8 for Shorewood. 5:17 left in the first half, up 14-7. Shotgun is Drayden. Wings it out. It bounces on the turf, and look to me, they're going to call it a completed catch.
It looked from here, it looked like it bounced right up into his hands.
Chris Namba.
Is that the one hop rule or something?
See it from where you were, Ron?
I can see it from down here. It looked like it hit the ground to me too, Scott, but I think the ref was blocked out.
There you have it, folks.
Ron also telling us through the headsets that the offensive line is getting a talking to on the sideline. 3rd and 8 for Shorewood. Drayden Wright fakes it, flags everywhere, dead ball.
Should be a false start on Shorewood. Back him up 5 yards.
Still
brings
keep
up 3rd and 13.
13. We've seen him. Drayden Wright's completed a 6-yard pass for a touchdown to Namba, but nothing farther than 6. He's going to start in shotgun with Angelos Perry to his right. Diaz on the flanker. Fakes it to Perry. Now back to pass, going way deep down the sideline, and to receive it is Josh May at the 24.
Uh-oh.
Now up the sidelines, finally tackled out of bounds, but not till the 48-yard line. Big play, Josh May.
And big play, Josh May's been quiet for a couple games, Scott, so good to see him back in the action on senior night.
Flag on the play.
Flag on the play. A lot of times that's usually on the interception there's some type of illegal block. I didn't see a flag.
Okay, that's no flag. No flag on the play. That was an easy play for Josh May. That was a duck high up in the air. So a good turnover there, the first one of the night for Glacier Peak. Offense back in action, the missile on the right side. Crosses the 50 into Shorewood territory, down to the 48.
Picks up about 4.
Palmer now averaging 4 yards a carry tonight.
That is 7.3 on the year. Well, that one touchdown would have got him up to about 10 yards a carry for the night.
Yes, that would have helped his average a big time. Becerra now 2nd and 6. He goes over to the right. It's caught by Big Play May, and he gets a first down. He's knocked out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Good play by Big Play May.
That's what they're looking for. Glacier Peak needs to get back in that rhythm and back in the tempo, and they're doing it here.
We talked to Coach Rowe before the game about getting the mojo going on the offensive side, getting that tempo, getting the down your throat, running quick. 1st and 10, now Palmer, the missile, but he is wrapped up nicely by number 18 for Shorewood.
Their defensive line is pretty stingy tonight, Scott.
And that's Cameron Testerman, a sophomore, 6'2", 180. Nice job by him. Shifting now as Austin Hines is in the ball game. 2nd and 10, Becerra back to pass. Gets it to Austin. Austin crosses the 30 inside the 25 down to the 23.
Picks up the first down. Uh-oh.
Did he catch the first down?
Yes, he did.
There you go.
They're moving it.
Angelos Perry on the tackle. And that's what you see, just like Shorecrest, Shorewood, there's like 3 or 4 kids who are doing it all offense, defense.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're not that deep. You know, you have one guy you see all over the place. A lot of times you'll see him punting the ball, too.
Yeah, you see him doing everything. Big Nick Allen now on the far side as Becerra looks back to pass. Looks at Austin Hines. It's blocked. Up at the line of scrimmage by Sam Smith. Good play by Sam Smith, the senior, 5'8", 200 pounds.
And he kind of telegraphed that a little bit.
He was looking at Austin Hines all the way. So 2nd and 10. Again, Elledge on the near side. Big Nick Allen on the far side. And Alec Horner, a sophomore, playing their tight end. Becerra goes back to pass. Now he gets it inside to Hines. Catches it at the 20.
He fumbled.
Holman looks like he might have had it 75.
I think the Glacier Peak offensive lineman recovered it there.
And that is number 75. That's Logan Holman.
Good play by the line.
Oh, no, they're saying it's Shorewood ball.
You're kidding me. Ooh. It looked like number 75 fell on top of it. You know, when you get down on the ground, though, they're like biting and kicking and pulling hair and pinching. You never know what happens after that.
So, turnover. Wipes him out.
Offsetting turnovers.
So Drayden Wright gets the ball back again, looking very good for really his first, playing time. He gets it over to Rikio Campbell. Campbell up the middle, a nice gain, an 8-yard run for Rikio up to the 28.
Ron Heffthorne will try to get a question in for Coach Rowe before he goes into the locker room. We're down to about a minute 40 left here.
Looks like there's a timeout on the field. So we will take a timeout. When we come back, we'll see what they do. Second down for Shorewood. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
2nd and 1 now for Drayden Wright, under center. Takes the ball, hands it out to Levi Diaz. Levi Diaz, but he is met by Austin Jacobson.
Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Let's see if Glacier Peak chooses to use their timeouts and get the ball back here. I think I might do that if I'm Rowe. Let's get this game tied up.
Clock ticking down, minute 17 in the first half.
Looks like they're going to just let it run out.
Rain coming down. Again, this homecoming crowd just waiting to just burst.
Well, they gotta have a reason.
The 69-yard play by Elledge, and here's 2nd and 9 for Shorewood. They get it off to Rikio Campbell, and he's taken down by not much yardage there by Zach Peterson.
Time out here.
50 seconds on the clock, and that's exactly what happened.
I think, if I'm Rowe, I think I want to get that ball back. Even if it's 20, 30 seconds, I want to see if I can get some points on the board.
So there's a timeout on the field, 3rd down and 6 for Shorewood.
And Scott, they still have 2 timeouts, so if they stop them here, you'll probably see them take another one real quick.
You see the rain coming down, and we knew it was coming. We were just waiting for it.
I'm not sure if we know what to do with this rain here now that it's been like 60-some days or 80 days, or how many days has it been?
Been a lot of days. Feels like California up here.
I know. Hey, my lawn's going to get watered.
Want to thank everybody out there who's enjoyed all the games here on STSPN. We have our last game of the regular season next Friday night. It's a late start, so mark your calendars for the 19th of October. It's an 8 o'clock start from Edmund Stadium. 3rd down and 6 now for Drayden Wright. Under 7, gives it to Diaz. Diaz pummeling, but Elledge, the wrestler, pushes him back.
Doesn't get it. See if they take that timeout.
Going to mark it down at the 38.
Timeout.
Another timeout by Glacier Peak.
So now the question is, Scott, does Shorewood go for that? It's 4th and a short 1. They go for it. The problem is they go for it, then they give the ball and don't get it. They give the ball to Glacier Peak on about the 38-yard line.
I think you got to play field position here. But it's pick your poison because you're putting it to Elledge possibly or Wong or
I think you can make an argument for both sides there.
Again, Shorewood doing a good job on the ground. 29 carries, 101 yards. Levi Diaz leading them with 13 carries for 50 yards. Palmer now the lead carrier for Glacier Peak, 7 carries for 25 yards. Becerra not doing too bad. Looks like they are punting as Chris Namba is back. No one in the backfield for Glacier Peak.
Nobody to receive the ball? That's strange.
Namba gets a decent punt off, hits the 35, takes a Shorewood bounce all the way down close to the 26 with 25 seconds left to go.
A little surprised they didn't have somebody back to return that. They could have, if you had Elledge back there or something, they could have got another 15 yards or something. He would have fielded that ball before it bounced.
We'll see if Ron Henthorne catches Coach Rory Rosenbaugh at halftime. Maybe he can find out what the thought process was there. So Chris Becerra, 1st and 10 at his own 26, and they look like they're just going to kneel it down and go into halftime.
That should do it then.
Clock did not start, though. Now it starts on the big board. Second quarter, it is the second quarter on your scoreboard there.
They shouldn't have to run another play, so we'll see if we can catch Rowe here.
Again, Tim, we love all the Facebook at stspn.com, our viewers from all over the country, not only locally, but next week is our last regular season game. The playoff schedule is out, and we'll talk about a little bit more on the second half about some hypotheses that Tim has put together as far as Glacier Peak's future. As we're waiting for Coach Rowe now, seeing if Ron Henthorn can catch up with him.
Here we go.
We'll go down to Ron Henthorn with Coach Rowe. Ron?
Okay, Scott, I'm down here with Coach Rowe. Coach, I wasn't quite the way you wanted the first half to go, I don't think, right?
Probably not.
Probably not. You think the rain's helping things a little bit here?
No. We're just playing worse than they are. A lot worse.
What do you think you have to tell the kids to make this work better next time?
Oh, I hope I don't say anything to them. I hope they get it, because they just, they came out playing flat, and they're getting after it, and they're taking it to us. And we got to start executing, or we're going to lose the game.
Great, thanks, Coach. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Ron. So halftime here at Veterans Memorial Stadium as the rain comes pouring down. Shorewood with a 14-7 lead. You're watching Glacier Peak football on the Snohomish Times Sports Network. Stay tuned to watch the sights and sounds of the homecoming celebration here at halftime with the Glacier Peak Band. Tim and I will be back about 2 minutes before the second half. Enjoy.
I'm with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist from Murphy's Corner Physical Therapist from Murphy's Corner Physical Therapy and president of IRG. Shannon, when do you put heat on an injury and when do you put cold on an injury? What's the difference and what do you do?
Scott, everybody asks that question. I can't tell you how many times people ask the question. Basically, I'm going to give you our opinion based on many years in physical therapy and rehab and injuries. If the joint is swollen, has pain, the best thing to do early on is ice. Ice is what we call cryotherapy. That is a great anti-inflammatory activity, and that's what you're trying to do, is help the body get rid of the inflammation. So what we recommend is a bag of frozen peas, a cold compress on the joint. Let's say the knee's swollen, put it on for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is a good therapeutic time. What you're doing is you're exercising the circulation, or what we call the circulatory system, to help your body clean up that inflammation. So we recommend ice with all of our injuries because we feel it's the best therapeutic thing to do.
I'm with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist from Murphy's Corner Physical Therapy and president of IRG.